Hello YouTube, this is your host Lord Draco 3004 and I want to talk about free speech. That's right, free speech. Of course, as you can see on the screen, there is our wonderful candidate Kathy Griffin. I'm sure all of you know what she's done and her downfall, that she keeps on putting her foot in her mouth. Now what she did, I agree with other content creators. It is protected under the free speech. It is probably a political statement, as some pointed out. It is definitely an art form that I would agree loosely falls under art. But however, she is still protected. Now, with that being said, what she did, and I'm going to go this probably a little bit further later on. Philip DeFranco mentioned it as well, saying that he even agrees it should be protected, but it's still stupid. Now, my thoughts on free speech is that it is free speech. You are free to say anything about anyone or anything, any events. Now, you may not agree with the image. You may not even agree with Kathy Griffin, and you may think lowly of her because of it. But however, I do not think the contents or content of the image is a crime. But that's just my personal opinion. I am not a lawyer. I'm just someone that makes YouTube videos of a hobby because I got nothing better to do. And that's how I feel about this particular situation. Now, I definitely agree with everything that has happened to her since she's taken that picture. As many people pointed out, you do have free speech. You can say whatever you want. But however, there are going to be consequences. Now, this is a stance I have changed within a year, because I used to think that you should be able to say whatever you want and not be fired from your job, not be socially outcast per se. I mean, there is some things. I mean, we're talking about, I don't know, I'm not going to give that detail. But just think of the lowest of the low that you could talk about. You just want to talk about that and how great it is, but you never committed that particular act. Yeah, then that deserves it. But like I said before, I used to think free speech should be protected. You shouldn't lose your job because you have a different viewpoint. You shouldn't be sued because you have a different viewpoint, which I still agree with. But it's the same. But my stance is you're free to make an ass out of yourself. I completely agree. That's what I view free speech as. Is yes, you have the right. Now, if you say something intelligent and people applaud you for it, then of course you get the gratification of that, of being respected. And if you do something stupid, like Kathy Griffin did, and keeps on putting her foot in her mouth, honestly, I think she should just disappear for about 6-8 months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years. I mean, I don't think she's probably hurting for money, despite what she says. I mean, I'm pretty sure she's well off. She can move to Idaho or Colorado or whatever, where the standard of living is very minimum, and be able to survive. And then come back in a couple of years, rush this off as a learning experience, and start anew, as you can say. But yeah, that's how I view on that free speech. However, we're going to talk about the Evergreen State College. Yes, that debacle. Now this was protest started over a professor. Um, I guess he's made statements in the past that people do not agree with, but this is the particular environment that we're living in today, where if you're white, you're wrong. Mentality, which I don't agree with. Yeah, I'm sure you all heard those channels, the anti-social warrior justice or the skeptic channels, where they just bash people acting a fools, and like I said, that goes with the Kathy Griffin. They're fully welcome to make a fool of themselves, and there's going to be channels to call them out. That's part of the repercussions. But yeah, this professor apparently was protesting the No Whites on Campus event that this wonderful college wanted to do. Now, I understand the position and the tone, you could say, or the contents of what this college was trying to do. They were trying to say, hey, we're going to have a black only or a non-white day to drive home or to illustrate how minorities or people of non-white skin are treated on a regular basis. I am not dismissing the fact that there are a small group of them that are being mistreated. I do believe that racism is a thing, and then I do believe that we'll never stomp out racism in any form. I mean, yeah, you're going to change a lot of people's minds and be more open, but there's going to be just some people who are just closed-minded, who would not think past the color of their skin or their race or their ethnic background. Now, these fine students, you've seen videos on how they reacted and how they treated the staff when they were trying to show respect. Now, this professor has some good points and definitely has some merits. I do know that he got in a little hot water because he mentioned that employment should be off of merit, not the color of your skin. That is something I completely agree with. I mean, I'm all for organic diversity. That's right, organic diversity. That means if you are at a job or any profession, it does not matter what profession it is, you would want to hire the best person for that job. Organic diversity, in my humble opinion, is, let's say a woman wants to do X and she's the most qualified amongst the people that are sending their applications and interviewing. That's an organic diversity. Same thing with any minority. If they're the best person for the job and they get hired, then the side benefit is that they're a minority and creating an organic diversity. Forced diversity, in my opinion, stifles innovation. If all you're looking for is to meet certain quotas of, we gotta have 15% female staff, we gotta have 10% black people, we need, I don't know, 5% Indians, 5% blah, blah, and blah, and you're only interviewing those type of people for a position, you're not going to get the best employed. I think merits should trump quotas. They should trump diversity. Yes, you can have organic diversity where it's organically developed and you take pride in that diversity. I understand the concept of diversity where you have people of multiple backgrounds, multiple ethnic backgrounds that may bring a different way of thinking. I can just take the number 4. 4 ones equal 4. 1 plus 3 equals 4. 2 plus 2 equals 4. 2 times 2 equals 4. And 2 squared equals 4. The end result is 4, and however you get there is still right. Now you have different options on how to get to 4. Not mentioning you could even do subtractions like 4 minus 8, 1 minus 5, 2 minus 6. These are just different ways to approach to get to the output that you're looking for, the end result. And I understand with diversity, they allow you to think outside the box or a different perspective. And that's one of the strengths of diversity. So I'm not against diversity. I'm against forced diversity. And when I look at Evergreen State College, I see an environment that is not really healthy, and I understand people's emotions are pretty high. Um, I understand that race was a big issue. More important, ethnic background was a big issue during the election, more so than people probably give credit to. I think it overshadowed the main stories and continues to overshadow real stories over oppression. I think these people who are protesting do not really understand how good they have it. They live in America, one of the greatest nations on earth. They have free speech, they have protections that they don't have elsewhere. This even includes feminists. Now, I don't really have an issue with first or second wave. I mean, they were out there to get equality. They're more of a equalitarian mindset where they want to be on equal playing fields, which I completely agree. I I would say I'm a bleeding heart liberal and also a cold-hearted conservative. That's why I don't really say I associate with any parties, because I am an American. I believe what's best for America is the way that we should do. Now, if that means we go one direction opposed to the other because that one, I don't know, doesn't help America, then I am not going to choose that option of. Um, like I said, this is more of going to be probably a longer rant and my kind of viewpoints. I'm probably going to label this under either politics, news, or just rant. I don't know, or maybe all of them. But yeah, this is just my opinion on that. I think people nowadays are dealing with emotions opposed to logically, and I wish we could get back to a more logical state of mind where we could just be happy and do what we need to do. Uh, that's how I feel about this state college. I mean, I understand the concept of having non-white stay home and don't participate, but at the same time, I also see that's also discrimination. I'm also racism. It may not be obvious, but the school was being racist towards white people. I know some will argue that you can't be racist towards white people. Only white people can be racist, and I find that a bunch of bullshit, to be honest. If you're a racist, you're a racist. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, Indian, Middle Eastern, Asian. You can still be racist. Alright, yeah, that's how I feel about that topic. I kind of went on a little tangent. Now, of course, I also get my news from the Philip DeFranco show. Yeah, I know there's kind of a slant to it, and I don't know, I think he's more liberal than conservative, but definitely has conservative. I would probably want to say that he's probably on the same token as I am, where he doesn't really want to identify with one particular party because no particular party really agrees with him. I mean, I may be completely wrong there and looking too much into it, but he had a few interesting stories this week. He made a comment that these liberals are drinking too much of their own Kool-Aid and was labeled a racist. And it's kind of sad that he had to point out Jonestown, where he got that reference. Now, maybe that happened too long ago for some people to really understand that, and it's just related to a stereotype that black people drink Kool-Aid. Who knows? But here's the thing about that. I don't think they drank Kool-Aid. It was Flavor Aid. It was the Kool-Aid knockoff that Jonestown drank with poison. Um, but yeah, I mean, how is someone who goes out of his way to be non-biased but biased at the same time and say, hey, I am trying to look at both sides here and throw my opinion off of a comment because he's talking about how, I don't know, I guess peaceful protesting compared to other protests. I mean, it was kind of peaceful, although they did kind of imprison that professor from a certain perspective, a certain point of view, where they forced him not to leave. I mean, he was trying to remove, or I'm talking about the professor, tried to remove himself from the situation. That crowd wouldn't let him. And he tried talking with them, and they just wouldn't let him talk. But Philip DeFranco is get called a racist because he says you're drinking too much of the Kool-Aid. Yeah, like I said, he actually brings up some pretty good points to Kathy Griffin and also Everett State College. Probably has a lot more information on that. I'm just babbling and just ranting on what I felt needed to be said from my point of view. Yeah, kind of lost where I was going with it, but oh well. But yeah, free speech. I think it most definitely is our one of our greatest amendments, the First Amendment. That's why it's probably first, because it's such an important tool. It can change the direction of the country is going, because if a whole lot of people agree with what one person says and it has merit and it has logic behind it, then it can change the direction where the America will go. However, same token, if you say something stupid or do something stupid, like Kathy Griffin, or anybody who does something similar to what she did, you're going to get consequences. First Amendment does not protect you from the reaction of the public. See, that's one thing you have to keep in mind when you're spouting off a whole bunch of crap. Is yeah, you have the right to say it. People have the right to interpret it how they view it. See, free speech is also free listening and free interpretation. Just because you say one thing and meant it in one way, it may not be perceived the way that you expected, and you have to deal with the consequences. Sometimes those consequences is a book deal. Some of those consequences is you get a better paying job. Sometimes the consequences are negative. Kind of like we're seeing with Kathy Griffin and how people are boycotting her. With good reason, I mean, come on. What she did was tasteless. Now, I did watch a couple of videos on this response, and I guess her spokesperson or PR or whoever spoke on her behalf made some valid points. Excuse me. Made some valid points. There were other people. I think Snoop Dogg is one of them. Some other groups that nobody's even heard of paint Trump in the same light that she did and not getting the heat. But the issue with those groups, and I guess Snoop Dogg gets passed because he really didn't show. I mean, I saw that video and it just said bang, like like a mock gun that had a stick come out with a flag that says bang. So yeah, not really relevant, I guess. I don't know. That's more in content. But like I said, there's other people that made similar type of statements and didn't get the hate that she got. But also deals with her reach, I guess, or her lack of reach. Even she admits that it could be wrong that she had to move to Mexico. But hey, I mean, probably the worst things that's going to happen is that People are going to boycott her. Advertisers are going to pull away from her. She's going to disappear for 6, 8 months to a year. And she's going to make a comeback. Won't be as lucrative, or maybe more lucrative. Who knows? Don't really care. She's not really one of the people I really follow or even pay attention to. I mean, at best, she's a C-list supporting actor at best, maybe D-list. Who cares? But yeah, I don't think her career is over if she plays this smart. If she just takes a 1 year vacation, moves to Colorado or Idaho or any place that has a lower level of, not a really lower level, but yeah, lower standard of life where she could just ride this out for a period, do some soul searching, and she can make a rebound. Um, but yeah, but yeah, that's what I say. I mean, I think free speech is important. Like I said, just because I say something and I mean it in one way, you can take it an entirely different way that I didn't even intend to, both negative and positive. So yes, I do support the First Amendment, and I do think it's something to fight for. That's kind of why we have the Second Amendment, right? It's to protect the First and Fourth and Third and whatever amendments they want to make. Our founding fathers were very intelligent on that. But yeah, that's all I have on this rant. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like or a comment on any other topics you want me to discuss. And hopefully you find this enjoyable. If you do, please hit that like button. Thank you and goodbye.